fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning.
Well, what's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the mistakes that I made as a beginner and the mistakes that I see being made by beginners, and stuff that might help you out on your journey to riding a motorcycle and becoming a motorcycle enthusiast and being able to have the adventures that you want to have throughout your riding experience. So there may be some gaps here because I'm just going off of memory, so it's not going to be perfect by any means. But the first one I wanted to talk about was gear. You definitely want to ride with the bare minimum of a helmet, goggles, and boots. Those are the essentials. You will regret riding without those essentials. And boots, you can, if you can't get riding boots, then work boots are good enough. That's actually what I rode with when I was a kid, for a while anyway. A lot of people think they can get away without riding a helmet, but that's not the case. We are an exposed, fragile body out here, and you're going really fast through the terrain, and my gear is protecting me every step of the way, not just when I hit the ground. Whether you run into a tree branches, all of that stuff, it's hard. It's not going to be as soft as you may assume. And same goes for your boots. You cannot get away with riding without boots, because those things protect you from every little impact. Every time you dab your foot on the ground, it's going to twist a little bit, and one of these times it's going to twist a little too much, mess up your foot. Also the rocks, limbs, everything that wants to take you out, it's going after your feet first. So it's absolutely essential to ride a motorcycle with boots on. The second mistake I see being made is going too fast and trying to learn too fast, I guess, or just going too fast in general. You're going to want to practice your slow technique. Just do circles in the parking lot, whatever it takes. Practice those figure eights and practice over little obstacles going slowly. It's not that I see a lot of beginners going crazy fast, it's that they're going too fast for the terrain and way too fast for their skill level on that particular terrain. So they'll just be riding along, an obstacle will come, and instead of slowing down, they just maintain speed and run into it. So it takes some experience to really get a hold of that, but first of all, I would say that a beginner could really benefit from riding around in circles doing figure eights, standing up on the bike, practicing your technique, making sure that you're standing, not sitting, and learn how to operate the bike that way. And if you don't want to get proficient at riding a bike, that's one thing. Like you can ride around and just sit forever if you want to, but if you really want to learn right and learn how to operate the thing the way it's meant to be operated, and be able to hit terrain, difficult terrain, with ease, then you're going to want to learn the techniques, because whoever says that's not important probably hasn't gone in a desert race going 100 miles an hour over chop bumps and had to survive, because it's the more advanced riding that really shows you that you need advanced riding technique. Alright, motorcycle maintenance would be the third one. There are some things that you cannot get away with and that would be cleaning your filter. You have to do that regularly. Some people overdo it, some people underdo it. I would say most people underdo it. I've got a dirty filter in this bike right now, but it's not getting through the filter. It's not working its way through. So that's the main thing, is to change your filter. If you're riding behind other people and it's dusty, you might need to do it every ride in those conditions. Just depends on the conditions. If you're riding solo, maybe it needs to be done every 5 rides. But bikes, generally speaking, are really easy to check the filter on. You just want to pop the cover without any tools. In a lot of cases, it's without any tools, and you can just check out your filter. If it's caked on there at all, then you definitely need to swap that out. So I'm under the power lines. I don't like being right here. Something about this just makes me think that they're... I'm still having flashbacks when I got electrocuted, zapped by those things. There's a spot of the trail that went really close to the lines, and some of the power escapes those lines, and it's not a good thing. Here's a saddle rock. Is that what it's called? I think it's called saddle rock. Looks like a horse saddle. Pretty fancy. See, learn to ride. You can get to places like this accidentally, like I just did, because I don't know where I'm going ever out here. Just being fully honest. Half the fun is getting lost. And that's another thing for beginners, is it's so easy to lose your passion for riding motorcycles if you're doing the same thing, riding the parking lots, not pushing yourself. At some point, you got to get out of the parking lots and go travel. Make an adventure out of it. Pinpoint a really cool spot on the map and say, I'm going to go there, I'm going to use these trails to do it. It makes riding such an adventure, and it makes it so versatile that it really never gets old. But I do see a lot of people just riding parking lots and in the desert or whatever, and there's going to be kind of a boring / dangerous time of riding, and that's right at the beginning, that first year. But if you can get through that, keep on practicing and work on your skill level, and then hit the mountains single track and go have some adventures, it becomes something way more fun. And of course, some people just enjoy riding the desert. That's fine too. I mean, it's not a big deal, whatever you enjoy. But if you do find yourself getting bored with the sport, it may be time for you to do a little expansion, expand the skill set. Don't get caught up on having the latest and greatest, especially just starting out. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need the best gear or the best suspension, because you're gonna be able to use all that stuff once you get your techniques down, and you're always going to be working on those. I don't say this as if I'm the best. I say this as if I'm pretty solid on my technique at this point, but not done, but good enough to use the bike's different features. I'm good enough to use the suspension, I can feel the bike squat into the corners using the brakes hard enough to do that. I can feel everything working on this thing right now. This is the way it's meant to be used. Again, lots of better riders than me, stage, you're using the bike to the point where maybe it makes sense to focus on those more advanced features. Up until this point, you really don't need much. You can take a totally stock bike made by anybody and have tons of fun on just about anything. Clutch work is another one that you'll have to work on. Don't ride just rolling on the throttle. I just went through that section back there with the clutch. The bike would have flamed out if I didn't use the clutch. You always want to have, well, what I do is I put one finger on the brake, 2 fingers on the clutch. I don't always have my fingers on the clutch, but I always have my finger on the brake. Anytime I'm slowing down using the bike's power, my finger is on the clutch. See that? That's the way you want to practice. Either 1 or 2 fingers, just like that. That will help you feed the bike exactly as you need it. Otherwise, you're going to be feeding the bike on or off type power. And you don't want that, trust me. It took me until I was like, I think about 14 to start using 2 fingers on the clutch. Once I did, it was a big leap in my progression just as a rider. Again, all that I just did, that was with the clutch, not with just power. That was not just with the engine. That would have been impossible to do with just the throttle. See how I just jumped off of that? Like, I'm hammering the clutch every time I do that. And those are techniques that you can use to advance your riding experience greatly over time and have a lot of fun with riding in general. So to be clear, this is what I'm talking about you should do with your practice. So all those things a lot of them I just talked about can be done with a figure 8 practice technique. Use 2 fingers on the clutch, get down to going really slow, lock your steering to the left, practice feeding the bike power as you balance. Try not to do that. This is uneven terrain, so you're going to want to do this on even terrain. There's a circle, then lock it to the right. I'm going to have to not quite go lock because I didn't want to run over that sagebrush. And keep doing this. You're using your brake with 1 finger, you're using the clutch with 2 fingers, learning that throttle discipline, that throttle control. You're feeding the bike. Now, that would be impossible to do if I did not have full control over the clutch. If I was just rolling on the throttle, that'd be really hard to do. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by and watching the video. I hope you got something out of it. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Alright guys, I just wanted to thank my Patreon supporters. That would be Lance Darnell, Jim Jolson Jr., Kurt Kinghorn, Daniel Roush, Brian Thomason, Wade James, Moto Creek, Nathan Young, Jason Froling. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you.